Hello and welcome inside the training room. I am your host, Dr. Ken Kaufman, and I am absolutely pumped to have you here where you get exclusive, behind the scenes, VIP access into the training rooms of professional sports. Thank you for joining me inside the training room and our final episode with tech entrepreneur Kevin Angell. In this episode, Kevin and I discuss how offering discounts and coupons is a short-sighted approach to building any business. We also go on to discuss how the best laid plans often don't end up the way we envisioned, and how being humble and open to opportunities is the best way to evolve an idea. Now, let me ask you this. One of the other pieces of advice that I offer is not to, and this is a little off topic, but for a personal trainer or a chiropractor to try to get somebody in the door by offering discounts and coupons and different things like that. What are your thoughts on that?
You know, I made that mistake, and it is just that because
I think everybody does.
Yeah. Essentially what you're doing is you're reducing your value, and you do have a value, and you need to keep at that value and make sure that people know it. You see it in grocery stores, so we're all accustomed to it. Well, if I buy one session, I get 2 sessions free.
Right.
It's not that way when you're talking about your health. You can't buy one from your doctor and go see him free the next time. So I think you really have to drive home your value, and you may even have to explain it. You may have to say, look, I don't do some of the buy 10, get 10 free because all 20 of mine are important. They're all specific to you. I'm not doing this same workout with everybody all day. And so I want you to feel that value as well, because you're investing in your health.
Right. And the other thing is that because individuals, trainers, chiropractors, doctors, therapists, they know a lot of information. So they try to tell somebody what they want them to understand. And as I always say, is clients don't give a damn what you want them to know until you know them first.
Right. Absolutely.
And so, and this is the secret weapon that I found was when I'm consulting with a potential client or potential patient, I sit and listen to them. And I let them, a lot of times they'll kind of ramble on, but I let them tell me, and I discover based on that conversation what it is they value. And so the secret weapon is when somebody is sharing what it is they value. And it could be, playing with their grandkids. It could be getting it back out on the golf course. It could be to, look good on the beach, whatever. When you take and attach what they value to the service you provide, you don't have to sell them. You don't have to chase them around for money. You don't have to chase them around because they because they don't. They're dedicated, and they see you as an important, valuable team member on their health and wellness program.
And see, what you don't realize is you're a great detective, because that's how it works in the detective world too.
Yeah.
What you're doing is you're getting them to open up immediately when you and I sit down. If first our first meeting and you're my chiropractor, I'm probably not going to divulge everything, just come and throw it all out at you. But if you let me talk, I'll get there. I know that I'll get there. We both know that I'll get there because I get comfortable, not necessarily with the information I have to pass on, but I get comfortable with talking to you.
Right.
And you're exactly right. You get to hear maybe too much, but you also get to reflect. And I took a comedy class at McCurdy's many years ago, and I learned this, and I've put it as part of my rapport building, is anytime when you're talking to somebody and you can connect something that they've mentioned to something that you're talking about, there's now a connection in that conversation, and it's so much easier to communicate.
Absolutely. And it does. It really opens up that communication. And, throughout my career, I've, I was taught at certain points that you need to script out and say these words in this order to this, in this way. And, I always felt uncomfortable with that because it wasn't natural.
Right.
This is natural. You and I just kind of going back and forth and talking about ideas and different things and sharing. And like I said before we even started, I don't even script any of this out because I think that would get in the way if you
Yeah.
have a general idea. But, and I'm going to come back to that in just a second, but that's, I think, a critical component that, especially a lot of new practitioners and new trainers, when they're out, they have all this information that they want to get out to people, and they have, they have a lot of information that they have to get out to people, and it's valuable, but clients aren't going to listen to it unless they know that you're interested in them and understanding where they're at and what their understanding is. So,
Yeah, and some of that I've found I don't do personal training as a money maker anymore, but I still see the kids that we have, and getting to the gym and finding out where do you want to be, and what are you willing to absorb about my instruction as well. I mean, I can go on and teach you every single muscle group. They don't care about that. They want to know, if I do curls, will it make this arm look bigger? So how
yeah.
how do they absorb the information as well, and at what level? What
hmm
level can I give them instruction to where I'm not talking over their head?
Yeah, exactly. And that's communication, really making sure that you're communicating, and, not getting rigid into your policies and procedures. You have to, you have to be able to provide a service, provide something that they value, and attach what it is that you do to that value network.
Definitely.
All right. So we've talked about some of the simple ways to be able to market services. We've talked about some communication skills. I know you brought up the idea of a business plan and a business model, and I can tell you, for my own personal experience, my original business plan for this company, from 2 years ago, I think out of the 60 some odd pages of that business plan, I think there was one page that still held
That you've
true.
stayed to, yeah.
Yeah, because and I think what it is, and you mentioned it before, is that you were able to pivot at certain points, and I think that's an important component. Is that, and it doesn't matter what business that you're in, what personal relationship you're in, you need to be able to pivot when there's new information and a new ability, and not get so caught up as, oh, I had this written out this way.
Right.
And really think about it. Since when did any plan go according to plan? It always changes. And I think a lot of people get real rigid in not wanting to see a bigger picture. Just kind of like this whole not controversy, but the some of the arguments I get about not icing injuries. It's like,
Right.
well, you have to ice injuries. Well, no, you don't. Well, yeah, you do. We've always done it that way. Well, those are the worst words in the world. That, we do it this way because we've always done it that way. But then you're never open to the possibility or the idea that there might be a better way.
Sure.
And so I think, tell me what your thoughts are on this, is that if you leave yourself open to different possibilities, you have better ideas, and more resources come into your circle because you're open to it.
Yeah, and I think you've got to. I think initially, when you first sit down, you have to have that business plan so that you know who you are, and more, probably less importantly, so you can say you've done one. Also, because if you're going to get money from a bank or another investor, they're going to want to see that.
Sure.
Then, much like you said, you got to take it, and you have to fold it into an airplane, and you have to say, will it fly? Also, right? Because
Yeah.
because you look at what we're going through now. You look at some of the local alcohol producers,
hmm
liquor producers, that are now making hand sanitizer, and I
Yeah.
promise that was never part of their business plan.
Yeah, no.
But you have to have, and I don't have the answer right now, but what I would recommend if I'm a personal trainer who is separated from my clients now is, what's my comeback move,
hmm
and how can I actually keep this distance learning going, with exactly with what some of you're doing with the on-demand learning. How can I do that on an individual basis as well,
hmm
so that I don't lose the mindset that we have today in the event that there is another spike in this, either now or next year?
Sure.
And what else can I do? I don't want to
Yeah.
just be a personal trainer. What other things do I have that I can reach out and put to work?
Yeah. And I think a lot of people underestimate the amount of content, knowledge, information, things they've written, things they've done that, they forget about. And, I would encourage people to kind of, dust off that library, go back through some of your documents that you created a couple of years ago, and and because I think everybody, especially if they're into fitness, if they're into being an entrepreneur, or how do I reach clients a little more effectively. I think a lot of people have some resources that they're not even aware that they have. They need to kind of dust some of that off and figure out, how do I repurpose this to
Sure.
provide value? And I really honestly think that once we start to emerge from the current situation, we are going to, there's going to be it's going to be like January 1st all over again. Maybe not like right away, because I think people are going to be spooked for a while.
Sure.
But honestly, the kind of the feeling I have, especially this current week, is that people are just kind of over it. It's been interesting for a couple of weeks. We got to stay home from work, and good or bad, because
Sure.
but people are spending a little more time with their kids. They're maybe getting a little more outdoor exercise, maybe some sun, but they're going to need, and they're going to really start to want, I think, some ability to be able to work out and train with somebody virtually, because they've been sitting around for a couple of weeks, maybe not. Maybe they're stress eating, and they're getting out of shape, and they're going to want to start picking it up and get back into working out, and maybe not in the gym, but get exercising.
Yeah, you kind of hit the nail on the head there too. It's almost going to be a full reassessment. You've got somebody whose muscles haven't been doing the same or anything like what they've been doing for what will arguably be 8 to 10 weeks, and that's on the generous side.
Sure.
So you're almost going to have to do a complete reassessment. You haven't seen them in 2 months. Have there been any injuries? We don't know what they've been doing on their own. But to hit back just a little bit quickly on the business model thing, and what you were saying about having that library of things that you've done in the past, things that were successful. One of the things that was told to me by my business mentor was, Kevin, if you win one client, all right, and that's successful, you need to write that process down, and it needs to be repeatable, right?
Right.
And I didn't know this at the time. I would go out and win a client, and it was because I was good to a different client, and I mentioned XYZ. I didn't go write that down and make sure that I could replicate that. So again, in this downtime would be a great time to look through your clients and go, well, I got Jim because of Kelly, and we did this work together, and I mentioned this, so she went and mentioned that to Jim. Again, not recreating a whole business model, but maybe, like you're saying, dust off those things that have been successful, and pull those out and look at those again.
Yeah, exactly. And again, there's some things that you can repurpose, as if it's content, if it's kind of an approach. Brush up on those skills, brush up on those communication skills with your people, because I think that's important component. Absolutely. Well, very good, Kevin. I appreciate you being on the show. We will probably reinvestigate this and do another interview maybe in another 6 months, when hopefully things start to pan out a little bit and we know a little direction where things are headed. And, all of it's going to be good, I'm sure. But Kevin, I appreciate being inside the training room.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, and great conversation. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Hey, before we go, I don't want this to be an afterthought, but how do people, are there any services or different things that you offer that would be good for a trainer or a coach or chiropractor or what have you as some of your business ventures?
Yeah, we do some coaching on anybody that's getting into the entrepreneurial world, especially if they want to add technology as part of that. We would definitely be interested in helping out with that. In fact, we've looked, again, during the downtime, repurposing some of what we're doing. We've looked into bringing in and doing classes potentially on having someone that needs to know will QuickBooks help me, or will this help me? So we do some of that as we've repurposed as well.
Okay.
Specifically for the technology world. Yeah.
All right. So we'll have links to Kevin's contact information for anyone interested in following that up. And once again, thanks for being inside the training room.
Thanks for having me.
All right, cool.